Alrighty, well, it looks here like we've got another Sapphire Diamond control deck. This time, Zubrin looks to be playing a Puck and Balthazar deck.
Yeah.
So, Puck and Balthazar, a champion that for 5 charges, the game takes a look and sees the top card of your deck is a resource, it plays it out, so it accelerates you a little bit, and if it's not a resource, you draw that card and you gain 2 life.
Yeah. This deck actually, we've seen it a bunch recently on the ladder. Play some of my favorite cards. We can see Runar Hierophant, one of my favorites. This card has a lot of text. So whenever another troop that you control enters the play, it gains 1 attack and 1 defense also, which is pretty interesting. You can see the socketing here is kind of unique on this Runar Hierophant. So one of the sockets here is create a random troop with cost equal or less than this card's cost that you meet the threshold requirements to play and put it in your hand. And it also has a powerful Death Cry trigger, which summons 2 Blight Blossoms. Pretty good against aggressive decks.
Just 1 Blight Blossom.
1 Blight Blossom, excuse me. Not Blight Bush.
Not Blight Bush, yep. So, you can see here, Justice choosing to play Mono Diamond and Mono Sapphire cards here, so probably... Ooh, we've got to keep on both
I like
sides
it.
of the
You know
table.
what? You know what? This is a great keep. I like it a lot.
This Raccoon coin does cycle.
Yeah. So as you can see here, Zubrin's going to go ahead and take a draw step here. Draws a Gargalith for the turn. That could be pretty interesting later as the game
This
goes.
card's pretty good against the control deck,
Yeah.
so has a powerful one-shot effect here where you can reveal this card from your hand and give one of your troops +1/+1 and spell shield to kind of interrupt one of their removal cards.
So Justice is going to take a draw step, another card.
Another Sapphire card.
Another Sapphire
more
card we
importantly
can
here.
cast. Yep. Draws a Silver Talon Adjudicator here.
And this is actually kind of a good highlight why I think the ice are a little bit more powerful than the coin, because when you're looking for that resource, I'd rather put a random resource on top of my deck than take a random draw or something like this.
Zubrin went ahead and drew for the turn there and has a 4th shard. So in Zubrin's hand here, we can see 2 wild shards, 2 Crocosaurs, a Gargalith, the Runeer, and a Carnosaurus also.
So kind of interesting choice too. So the Carnosaur has the fight mechanic here. So when it comes into play, it gets to battle an opposing troop and can pick off smaller things like the Thunderfields here. And more importantly, it's whenever anything battles a troop, you gain some life. So it combos with the Crocosaurs we see here in hand. So when these fight, he'll gain some more life down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Good little synergy going on there. And as you can see, Justice actually another Sapphire Ice in hand now.
So we've gone from no Sapphire to 2. It's pretty good here. We'll eventually see whether or not we see the Carnosaur come down here, or if we want to be resource efficient and use the Runeer Hierophant this turn from Zubrin's side of the table.
In Justice's hand here, they have a Sapphire Ice, a Runebind, a 14 costing Psychic Ascension currently. Man, that card has been in a lot of people's opening hands today.
You're not wrong. And that's the type of card you really want it like 20 cards into your deck, right? Like you've set up and you've kind of played your game.
The last 2 cards in Justice's hand, Clash of Steel, which could be real good here against Gargalith, and a Silver Talon Adjudicator.
So we do see Zubrin choose to go with the resource-efficient play and play the Runeer Hierophant, and we see a Trufflehead get generated.
Very
the old
nice.
2/2 for 2 when this enters your crypt, it gets 4/4. Probably just going to be a 2/2 for 2 in this matchup. I don't expect the Mono Wild deck to get anything back from the discard
For a
pile.
while, I believe it's just going to be a 2/2. Alrighty, Justice again draws another Thunderfield Seer. I'm going to go ahead and Fate Weave here, and then play down this Thunderfield Seer. Up to 4 resources.
So we can see here, we're going to have a pretty good turn. We get to go ahead and use all 4 of our resources if we want in a couple different ways. So we're going to see Carnosaur come down first here and eat the Thunderfield Seer, and then, so no other plays out of Zubrin before we ship into this as an attacker.
That's interesting.
So we've got a couple different decisions. We could see a Trufflehead come down post-combat, or we could see multiple 1-drops. Clobberdon showing Hex's resource system in a really elegant manner. So this only costs 1 resource to play as a 4/3, but it requires that you have three wild thresholds.
Yeah, the other choice here Zubrin has is you alluded to the 1-shot on Gargalith here, which might be...
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to kind of keep our Runeer protected from a card like Transmogriphade, for instance.
Alrighty, so Justice here is at 27 life, and Zubrin is at 23. We're going to go ahead and try and put this Silver Talon Adjudicator onto the battlefield. Just drawing a couple cards. I say just drawing a couple cards, but...
You know, and that is, remember, holding that Gargolith activation up is not completely free. While it does protect from something like Transmogre Fate, it did give Justice the opportunity to deploy that Silver Talon Adjudicator and draw some extra cards.
Yeah. So Zubrin here has no more resources in hand. Going to go ahead and play out this Clobberdon.
I like once we've committed to protecting this with the Gargolith that we're going to stick in there.
That's what we're doing, yeah. I think that makes sense.
And remember, too, so the Dark card's one of the powerful control cards that comes out of the Sapphire Diamond control deck. Protecting that Runeair is really valuable because it doesn't get sacrificed to the Dark card.
Speak of the Devil, the Dark card of Nulzan was the draw step here for Justice. Goes ahead and plays that Clash of Steel. Going to get everything off the table here except for, like we said, the Runeair Hierophant is the card that Zubrin chose to keep. Alright, Zubrin goes ahead and draws for the turn. It's a 5th resource, able to activate Puck and Balthazar, ramping us here, notably.
Plays that extra resource off the top of the deck. I like Justice holding up the Transmogre Fade as opposed to using aggressively on their turn. It makes Zubrin use their resources right now.
Yep.
So, while you can't Runebind the Gargolith activation because this is not a card, this is an effect on the chain, they can Runebind the Runeair Hierophant, taking it out of play.
Yeah, that was pretty nifty little chain we had going on there.
There are upsides and downsides to Runebinding this Runeair Hierophant, though. It does get rid of all of those buffs that it has, but when this card recasts, it's going to enter play and re-trigger that create a random troop.
Yeah. Alrighty. Justice draws a Wakuna coin for the turn. It's going to be their 7th shard total here. We have a pair of shards in hand, the Wakuna coin and the Sapphire shard, followed up with a 11 costing Psychic Ascension, and then there's a Dark card of Nulzan and a Silver Talon Adjudicator in hand. Pretty decent hand here.
Yeah, honestly, and like we mentioned before, drawing that 7th resource in the Dreaming Fox deck is actually really good.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to activate your champion power on time. We can see here, we talked about the synergy between Dark Heart of Nulzan and Runebind earlier. Normally, Dark Heart cannot kill the Runeair because it's socketed, but it's not socketed when it's a Mysterious Rune.
That is true.
We see the trade here of Crocosaur for the Silver Talon Adjudicator. It's an interesting line because the Silver Talon Adjudicator would die to this turn. It does give Zubrin the opportunity, though, to attack with this 3/3 Hierophant and push some damage through, which I kind of like, because the Crocosaur is not very valuable in this matchup anyway, so using it to push some damage seems good.
Yeah, I think it's okay here. I think that's probably the thought process Zubrin is going through here.
And we see here Zubrin's drawn one of their more powerful cards in the matchup, Balthazar here, so Balthazar's text box is a little bit of a poem here that we can help. And I'll never forget the first time I saw Balthazar while I was playing Hex. I was like, what on God's green earth does this card do?
So, the first time I ever saw Balthazar, I just played a guessing game. I didn't know it. I just was like, I don't know how many cards it draws or how much life it gains. I just have no idea.
So, to translate Balthazar for the audience, this card is a 1/2 for 6. So, you know its text box is good because it's a 1/2 for 6.
Yeah.
So, Balthazar gains 2 life equal to the highest defense among troops you control when it comes into play, and it draws cards equal to the highest power. So, if Zubrin places Balthazar up next turn, for instance, they would gain 3 life and draw 3 cards.
Alrighty.
So, and we see the attack here. I like it. You made the Crocosaur play to push this damage through, so that's definitely valuable. See the Wakuna coin cycle end of step here. Ooh. We see powerful draw card, Bounty of the Magus, added to Justice's hand here.
Interesting. And it's prophesized, notably, also.
Yeah, and that's really important. So the Escalate mechanic in Hex is really sweet. After you play this card, instead of it going to your discard pile like most actions, it gets looped back into your deck, and it makes itself and all copies of Bounty better. So your next Bounty is going to draw 1 more card, and they keep going up and up and up.
You think prophesized Escalate cards are any good?
The prophecy with the Escalate mechanic is what you would call a combo in the biz. So our Thunderfield Seer that Justice had played out earlier modifies a card, adding a line of text, draw a card to it. And normally, you only get to leverage that draw card once. But because it's been put on this Escalate card, he's going to get to leverage that draw card every time this Bounty of the Magus comes back
Very
up.
good. Alright, so we see Justice draw a Guidance for the turn. Going to go ahead and put a Silver Talon Adjudicator into play.
That bird drew 2 cards. and gained 5 life.
Sure did. It sure
got
did.
a little tingly Matty.
We are up to 24 for Justice now. Zubrin down to 20.
No attack on the Dark Heart's kind of interesting there. You have the Silver Talon Adjudicator that you probably want to chump block with anyway, so I kind of like being a little bit more aggressive here from Justice's side.
Sure. Let's see here.
We have a couple different lines, so
We went with this is kind of interesting. So last turn we traded the Crocosaur straight up for the Silver Talon Adjudicator and the 5
push
damage.
damage,
Yes. Is that a line that we think we're going to go to again here?
So, because we added Balthazar to our hand, I kind of like committing a little bit more cards to the table, because if we build the Runier up, it's going to allow us to draw additional cards with the Balthazar.
Okay.
That being said, giving the Sapphire Diamond control player more draw steps gives them more opportunities to draw cards like Runebind to make your Balthazar much, much worse by runebinding the cards that you put into play.
Yeah, that was pretty gross here for Zubrin. Justice went ahead and used the guidance and found another Silver Talon Adjudicator.
And remember, we mentioned this last match, the bird is less good when you're as far ahead as Justice is right now. It's not gaining life or drawing cards. It's very unlucky.
Alrighty, we guidance again and found Bounty of the Magus. This is a different copy.
And we know this is a different copy because it's not prophesized, but no, this one draws 2 cards now.
Pretty good.
The first one
also drew 2 cards.
That's true, yeah.
Alrighty. So no attack here again for Justice. Means his Trufflehead is going to be into the bin for Zubrin. Artisanal Cheesesmith.
Artisanal Cheesesmith is generally one of the better cards in the matchup against these more grandy control decks, but it's not particularly good when there's a dark card on the other side of the table.
Yeah, pretty rough living out there for the Cheesesmith.
This is actually a card that I think is going to be pretty well positioned starting Monday after the Lasgard's Vengeance ban. It's a card that's like reasonable against aggressive decks because it's a 2/3 with lethal, while also generating cards against control decks.
Yeah.
But it was just in kind of an awkward spot because it has 4 toughness or defense or less. The random cheeses that this generates every turn, there's one of 3 different cheeses you can generate. There's a Cheese Goliath, which is a 7/5 with Crush. There is a Dragon Valley Brie that gives you a health point every single turn as a constant. And there's a Kraken Barrel Cheddar that, for 6 resources, puts any card from your crypt back into your hand.
Guess what card is in our graveyard currently?
We said the Trufflehead.
The Trufflehead wasn't going to do anything. You said you're a liar.
I am a liar. I am a dirty, rotten liar.
So Trufflehead out of the crypt could be real interesting with Artisanal Cheesesmith.
And we see here, I mentioned, playing those troops out to make the Runier Fire Event larger is valuable. And now the Runier's large enough, they can attack into the Star Card.
Runebind gonna stop that play.
I was kind of fond of that Runier Hierophant.
I was excited for it. Zubrin did a lot of work to make that a 6/6, and Justice is very rude and just says, you know what, we're gonna make that a mysterious rune instead.
So we see Zubrin once again ascend into the powerful Paragon of
Justice.
Justice has ascended. Thank you. So every time Justice plays an action, they're going to get a random troop, and their champion power is going to generate random troops for them. So again, the card quality is low, but the card quantity is very, very high.
Alrighty. Zubrin going to go ahead and play the Witch here, and then the Balthazar. We're going to try and find a couple cards. Look at that.
Ooh, that's got a Runier Hierophant back. Yep. Worth noting, too, we generated a Kraken Barrel Cheddar. So this is going to be able to get back the Trufflehead or possibly anything else you might be interested in. In fact, this is really potent because this Balthazar is going to get sacrificed to this Dark Heart. We might see them grind this out.
This is this game is not over. So Justice has ascended to the Paragon of Thought, which is almost always just a foregone conclusion for the control decks. But this one's interesting. Gyronaut, pretty good.
We see a little bit of an aggressive attack here on Zubrin's part and gets punished by some RNG from the Paragon of Thought, generating a 3/3 to trade with that Artisanal Cheesesmith.
Is that a
Runic Downfall?
Okay.
The Runic part isn't terribly a combo with the Dark Heart, but this is going to generate a random 5-drop when you cast, in addition to bouncing something back to you.
Real good. We could say that Justice is a little shard flooded in hand. However, Paragon of Thought mitigates that very nicely. So Justice is up to 4 shards in hand. Has the Runic Downfall and the Outflank, which are generated by the Paragon of Thought. Also a Bounty of the Magus and a Silver Talon Adjudicator currently in hand.
And this is, again, not the profitable one. But this one draws 3 cards. And at the point where your Bounties of the Magus start drawing 3 or more cards, your Bounties often draw you more Bounties.
Yeah.
I like this attack. You got to get him dead
Yeah.
at some point. Your hand is full of quick actions that you can use to gum the board up. Should
Yeah.
Zubrin decide to get frisky, let's just pressure him with this dark card.
I like it. Zubrin goes ahead and sacks a Sentry of Nolzan to the Dark Hat of Nolzan. That's flavor, if you will.
Yeah.
And goes ahead and draws for a turn. Looks like an Eternal Seeker was the draw for a turn.
That Eternal Seeker is one of the better cards, and I like leading on this Gargoyle.
Sure.
This feels like we're baiting. We're like saying, do you have an interrupt? Do you want to counter this
Yeah.
Gargolith if you have an interrupt? We see a Bounty of the Magus here, probably looking to draw some Rune Binds or some Transmogrifades. Remember when I said Bounty draws Bounty? Ooh,
that's
baby,
a
we got the
five.
prophesized
That's
one.
a fiver this time.
As a simple man who likes to draw a lot of cards, I can appreciate a good Bounty of the Magus for 5. See the Rune Bind come in here. Go ahead and snag that Gargolith.
Yep. Alrighty, so that was... I liked it by Zubrin there. Just used all the resources, said, you know what, if you have it, you have it.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to just ask those questions when you're on the other side of the table. The control deck doesn't always have it. Sometimes they pick up a bunch of cards and it's a bunch of resources.
Sometimes they draw 5 to 6 cards with their 3 drops.
And the next one's going to draw 5 more cards. And remember, there are only 20 cards left here in Justice's deck, and 3 of them
Yep.
are more Bounty of the Magus.
Wow. Wicked. Wicked stuff here. Alright. That one is the draw 6 that we alluded to earlier. Justice up to only a minimal 13 cards in hand currently.
It's kind of this is my favorite part of the control. I can really appreciate Zubrin letting Justice play this out because this is the fun part, right?
Yeah, it's
where you
very
get to
nice.
like generate your random troops to kind of figure out how are we beating you inside of combat.
Alright, we got a pretty good board state going on here.
Generated
See,
a Lost in Time here,
oof.
which can it's technically card disadvantage, but I feel like Justice has the card advantage on lock.
You think
to
so?
be able to generate a little bit of tempo here with this Lost in Time. Continue pressuring with our dark card. Oh, Clash of Steel.
We
This
made it-
card, everyone picks just one single card,
Only one.
and all the rest of them go away, which is a combo with Dark Heart because they have to sacrifice their last card
Not-
every turn,
not-
assuming
not-
it's not socketed.
Sure. Sure thing. Alright, Justice makes the play of keeping the Dark Heart of Nolzan, while Zubrin keeps the Runeir Hierophant.
You think this Rooney is going to get Lost in Time?
You know, I think it's pretty fair to think that. Let's see. Let's see here.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
There
lost.
we go. Forbidden Tomb Seeker
Poor
here.
Runeir is
1/1
lost.
That gets bigger every time you draw a card.
It was a Cheesmith draw.
We did say that card was good against control.
Yeah. Forbidden Tome Seeker, created by the Paragon of Thought here. Justice down to a paltry 11 cards now. It's just running them out here. I like it. Gonna go ahead and put a Thunderfield Seer into play. Just gonna play the -2 casting Psychic Ascension.
Which doesn't generate a troop. It's important to note that if a troop doesn't exist with the threshold and casting cost of what you play, it just doesn't generate
Yeah.
anything.
Gonna come on in here for 4 with the Dark Card of Nolzan, putting Zubrin down to 15. Justice at a nice healthy 24. Gonna go ahead and have to discard some cards. Very unfortunate.
That's pretty unlucky, really.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's ever going to generate back that card advantage that he lost from discarding.
Justice is gonna go ahead, or excuse me, Zubrin gonna go ahead and play down an Artisanal Cheesmith here. Still fighting along here. I like it. Zubrin's hand here is Eternal Bastion, Eternal Seeker, Crack and Barrel Cheddar, another Artisanal Cheesmith, and a Crocosaur here.
All right, so we're going double cheese. Maybe hoping that one of these gets interrupted as opposed to the Eternal Seeker.
Yeah.
Eternal Seeker kind of feels like the way back into this game if you have one. The Sapphire Diamond Control deck actually is pretty light on ways to deal with
Yep.
powerful flyers, and the Eternal Seeker does have the flight mechanic.
Yep. See where we go from here.
Yeah, I could. Do we see the Runic Downfall come into play here and pick the Artisanal Cheesmith back up?
Oh, Vigilant Duskwing was the creation. That's a pretty solid one. Alrighty,
Bounty the
Justice.
Magus, creating a Thunderfield Elder here, where the next action your deck gets to copy it. Imagine if that went on a Bounty of the Magus. You might not actually be able to play it because
That
it's
is
drawing so
true.
many cards. It's drawing so many cards. at
20
this point.
cards notably left in the library here. Ooh, look at that pretty card. See how pretty that
we
is?
have one of Hex's AAA Into the Unknown. So you can see the animated alternate art on the Into the Unknown. That it's one of the prizes for. Is that the Clash promo right now? Right?
Yes, I
Because
believe that's correct.
Sabretooth is this one. And we
Boy.
see get to recast that Runic Downfall, make another
world.
powerful 5-drop here.
What a world. Gonna go ahead and shift the power from Forbidden Tomeseeker onto Vigilant Duskwing here.
Old Earthen's Glory, probably not particularly great at this
Yep.
point. I see a lethal attack come on across here from Justice. That's going to go ahead and
good.
end our first game. End our first
Pretty
game
good.
here with them.
Decent game there. I really thought that Zubrin was going to be able to claw back into it, but I believe Clash of Steel mixed with the Paragon I thought was just a little bit too much for him to overcome there. Alright.
All right, let's go ahead and get on into our second game in this match here. So Justice is up 1-0. See if Zubrin can tie it up in the second game here.
I really like that Zubrin plays with those sleeves, by the way.
As you can see here, and we mentioned Zubrin as one of our Exalteds here. So if you have the Exalted Professor in your Hex collection, this is a card in Zubrin's likeness. So one of the great things Hex does for the community is give the Exalteds a card in their image, and the Exalted themselves gets a sleeve here with their image on it.
Zubrin's hand here is pretty interesting. We have 2 Witch of the Wishing Wells, and we have another powerful reserve card in Scorn of Oberon in this matchup.
I actually really like Witch of the Wishing Well in general. I think this is another one of those cards that just gets a pretty good leg
Sure.
up with Lasgard's Vengeance rotating out of the format. This is a 1-3 for 1, so it's got good stats to line up against an aggressive deck when it's not getting Vengeance out of the way. And it kind of makes any awkward troops you draw potentially less awkward because it lets you cycle them back out and get a new troop out of your deck. You mentioned Scorn of Oberon, which I agree. This is one of the better cards in this matchup. Not only can it destroy a card like Dark Heart of Nulzan, but the important part here, it can revert up to one target troop, so it can undo something like Transmogger Fate.
Yeah, it's a very good one. Let's see. We alluded to Transmogger Fate here, and you can see in Justice's hand, there's a Dark Heart of Nulzan, a pair of shards, a Transmogger Fate, a Guidance, a Runebind, and a Thunderfield Seer.
And we see the second Witch rotate out of Zubrin's hand there and get a Rotting Chomp Knight into here, which is
that's
larger.
a Big Daddy, too.
Thanks to the Witch. A 7-5, that's nothing to scoff at. Another way to deal with that Dark Heart. Again, just like Hex does a good job of making sure almost every shard has powerful, flexible answers, and we've got plenty of answers to the powerful Dark Heart of Nulzan here with Rotting Chomp Knight and Scorn.
Alrighty. Justice is going to go ahead and play a Sapphire Ice out here, and a Thunderfield Seer for the turn.
So I was going to say the Fate Weave kind of go either way. You kind of want a 5th resource, but you also don't mind more action. I think because we played the Thunderfield Seer, I would assume that they Fate Weaved a non-resource to the top there.
Oh boy.
So we see the Chomp Knight get traded out for now, and I like swapping that out on Zubrin's side. Because we have the Scorn of Oberon, we already have an answer to that Dark Heart of Nulzan, so there's no reason to have that second Chomp Knight this early, especially when we don't have the resources to cast it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So the Rotting Chomp Knight went back in. We put a Might Singer of Ages, which is kind of a powerful one, kind of forgotten about, honestly.
Yeah, and again, the Wild's just kind of been in a tough position, but this Might Singer of Ages is a very potent, powerful Wild card. And this card, this is a question that I've seen come up on stream a lot. This card works the way you want it to with your Wild Ice. So this card says whenever you gain a Wild Threshold, it checks if the top card of your deck is a troop, and if it is, it draws that card into your hand. So the way it works with the Wild Ice is your Wild Ice lets you Fate Weave, and then Might Singer triggers.
Pretty cool.
So you can Fate Weave, and if your deck's full of troops, you're likely Fate Weaving a troop as a non-resource, and then immediately draw it with the Might Singer.
Pretty neat one.
We have one other minor replay bug here. You'll note there's a counter on this Might Singer of the Ages. That means this card ends the game with one counter on it. Somehow, normally this card doesn't have a counter. So it's a small glitch in the replay system, which is currently testing software.
Man, Justice's hand is really shaping out pretty nicely here. We have a 3rd and a 4th resource in hand. Also with just a bunch of powerful removal spells here, and 3 Transmogrifades, a Runebind, and a Dark Heart of Nulzan.
Yep, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see a Transmogrifade get pulled the trigger on this Cheese Smythe here, because remember, every time Zubrin gets to ready with this card, he's going to get a powerful random cheese. Or maybe a stinky random cheese, one of the
Could
two.
be.
Some of them smell worse than others.
That's true. Alrighty.
Justice might be passing here. We'll see. Pause on the second main phase. We're thinking. Nope, we're gonna go ahead and let Zubrin generate a cheese here. And we got kind of a stinky cheese for this matchup. Yeah, so cheese. The Dragon Valley Brie gaining 1 health a turn is actually kind of a downside against the Sapphire Diamond deck because they got Silvertail Adjudicators in their deck.
Yeah, that is true.
That being said, it is still reasonable because it is just another constant on the table that like you could sacrifice to a Dark Heart, right?
That is true. All right, so this Transmogrifade here is going to turn our troop into a copycat.
I like coming across here. Thunderfield Seer trade feels good. The Cheese Smythe connects, and every time this Cheese Smythe connects, all the cheese in your hand get cheaper, even the stinky cheese.
Even the stinky cheese.
So we see here Zubrin plays the wild resource out here, which says to me that they're not going to play this Bite Stinger in the Age out, which I kind of like here. He has the answer to a potential Dark Heart and Scorn of Oberon here in his hand, so I like waiting on that.
Alright, so Justice plays a 4th resource out and just goes ahead and puts this Dark Heart of Nulzan down on the table.
I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see Scorn of Oberon in end of turn.
Yeah.
Just take that Dark Heart out, which Scorn's a quick action, so you don't want to lose your Artisanal Cheese Smythe. Maybe he'll make some less stinky cheese this turn.
Justice notably is out of shards in hand. Stuck with a Runebind, 2 Transmogrifades, a Bounty, and a Dark Heart.
That 5th resource is great for Zubrin here.
Yeah.
Not only does it trigger the Might Singer, but it gives him the additional charge to activate Puck and Balthazar for the turn.
Very good.
We see our Dragon Valley Brie ticked out a 2 here, and probably just, I'm not surprised to see the turn pass there. We have the powerful Gargolith in our hand yet again, so we can defend his 2 potent troops with Transmogrifades.
This Rotting Chop Knight might be pretty good this game.
And Justice has a lot of decisions here. He could either go for the Transmogrifades on the Might Singers along with Runebind to kind of back it up, or he could just stick the Dark Heart into play and like hope the Runebind is enough to protect this card from anything that's going on.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of choices here. Gonna go ahead and play out that 5th resource here. Just gonna put a Dark Heart into play. I think that's probably just like the safest line is, you know what? I'm just gonna play this and hope Zubrin doesn't have another instant speed answer.
Yeah, I don't hate this line at all, and especially like even if Zubrin has a quick speed answer in like another Scorn of Oberon, Justice has the Runebind to protect it. You'll see the Might Singer here. Every turn they have 5 thresholds. This thing gets +5/+5 permanently. So it's an 8/8 now, and next turn it's going to be a 13/13. This card hits hard and fast.
Very good. Alrighty, so Zubrin drew an Eternal Seeker for the turn. We are in hand here is a Kraken Barrel Cheddar, and a pair of Dragon Valley Breeze generated from the Artisanal Cheesesmith, a Gargolith, Eternal Seeker, and a Rotting Chomp Knight here. And with the Dark Heart of Nulzan in play here, you like just trying to get the Chomp Knight down?
So I feel like playing the Dark Heart out with one resource up screams Runebind to me. I feel like if you don't have anything else to do, you just have to play the Rotting Chomp Knight and hope, but I feel like Zubrin has some play to what they could do here. I kind of like just playing out the 2-cost Dragon Valley Brie and continuing to hold up the Gargolith activation. The Dragon Valley Brie insulates your Might Singer against a potential Dark Heart trigger for next turn. We let the Transmogrifade happen. That's interesting.
That just means the Chomp Knight.
It gives the opportunity for the Chomp Knight. That makes sense. I like that a lot. I was thinking I want to protect my threat, but resolving the Chomp Knight guaranteed is definitely the better play here.
I like it. Still a six power guy on the table here. It's pretty quick clock.
See, the Verdant Mill get a counter there by Exhaust. So the Verdant Mill, if you get 5 or more counters on this whenever you play a resource, you generate a 2/2 Wild Child.
Alrighty. Gonna come back to Zubrin's second Gargolith. That Chomp Knight could go the distance.
I say, he's going the distance.
He could go the distance.
And remember, like, There's the Tread Viper. You're probably going to see Gargolith protect this. Yep.
Sure.
So take 7. And remember, this thing's got 6 power normally, so that means just 2 more attacks. And this Chop Knight's going to put Justice in the ground. I like just passing here again, because even though we've used the one shot on this Gargolith, Zubrin's got a second Gargolith in hand. Just like really roughing up these control decks.
Unsuspecting. Alrighty, Justice, you see here, draws a Ice for the turn. It's notable here because this is going to be the second resource for Justice, and he could set up for the 7th for the Oracle Song.
Yeah, I definitely like Fate Weaving a resource at the top of your deck here, so that way you can activate Dreaming Fox's power to create an Oracle Song and put it into your hand.
So goes ahead and plays the Diamond Ice with a pair of Runebinds and a Dark Heart in hand.
Yeah, I 10 out of 10 expect to see the Dark Heart come down here. I guess it's a little bit awkward because, like,
get the Verdant Mill.
The Chomp Knight, if they sack the Chomp Knight, this dies. And then you've gotten their threat off the table, but at the same time, you've lost yours as well.
This Kraken Barrel Cheddar actually might be pretty good, too.
Because, like, we see the Runebind on the Chomp Knight here. I like this line a lot. It's kind of a gamble.
It is.
Because if Zubrin hits a resource next turn, he's just going to get to replay this and eat the Dark Heart, and then he has a Chomp Knight, and Justice doesn't have a Dark Heart anymore.
Going to be in pretty...
Oh, there's a Gargolith.
Second Gargolith, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that. And I like the pause there. Honestly, like... It depends on how much you want to gamble, right? Because if there's a resource on top of your deck letting this Runebind happen, it's great for you. If there's not, and there wasn't, you'd be in a lot of trouble.
That is true. I like this Surrounding Chomp Knight. You know, Zubrin here has a full hand against just a Runebind, and I think it's pretty fair for Zubrin to assume that there's a resource on top of Justice's deck. So, I think the world is kind of Zubrin's oyster here.
So... He doesn't block with the Dark Heart, right? So that screams to me one of two things. He has to have something to answer this Chomp Knight because he wants you to sacrifice the Chomp Knight. So I really like Zubrin's line here of, like, let's just go wide and, like, hope you don't have a... Clash of Steel is the card I'm looking for. So that way I can sacrifice things and continue pressuring you with my 6-drop.
So Justice put a non-resource on top, and there's a Pride's Fall was the draw here.
Okay. Interesting, but still kind of awkward. Because again, if you kill this Chomp Knight, it's got a Death Cry to blow up this Dark Cardinals in here.
All right. And to be honest, these Dragon Valley Breeze are just really nice fodder at this point, you know.
Yeah, and we mentioned they weren't going to be good in this matchup, but they're being very reasonable.
They are, yep. Alrighty. Zubrin draws a Clobberdon here, which is super powerful 1-drop at this point in the game.
Take a look at Zubrin's Crypt here. So they could recover this Scorn of Oberon with that Kraken Barrel Cheddar and eventually shoot down this Dark Heart as well. Not going to be too surprised to see an attack. I like the attack with the Wishing Witch there. It's a little bit aggressive, but if they want to block here, then they lose this, right? Then they lose to this, so they're pretty obligated to block here or have an answer for this.
Yeah, so you see they do conveniently have a Runebind in hand, but it's really, really rough here. It's kind of uphill for Justice the rest of this game, it feels like. Lots of cards in Zubrin's hand.
It's a touch awkward that we're like got the Gargolith and the Eternal Seeker, but the Witch really honestly goes a long way towards smoothing out some of that awkwardness that occurs because it allows you to cycle these larger threats back into your deck that you aren't currently in a position to cast. I like this. We get the Clobberdon coming out. Probably see the Dragon Valley Bree enter as well. So again, just kind of going wide and ensuring that we have a lot of different things to sacrifice to the Star card every turn. So hopefully we can replay this. And
another Runebind off the top here for Justice.
That card's pretty good.
Not the worst
here. Scale of 1 to not bad. Definitely closer to the not bad side of the scale. And you can't really attack if you're Justice at this point because the Dragon Valley Bree gets sacrificed, and then you're going to get clobbered in the most literal sense.
Yeah, actually clobbered. Yeah. So let's see here. Yep, no attack it looks like here. Going back to Zubrin here. Sacks the Dragon Valley Bree. Draws.
We hit the resource. And this is actually, the resource is good for 2 reasons. Not only does it do this, but it allows us to play this Balthazar, which is going to let us draw 4 cards, which will likely re-trigger this rune again.
This Kraken Barrel Cheddar is looming also. It's certainly looming here.
I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see the Balthazar come down.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Draw 4 cards, gain 3 life.
Hit the resource for the Mysterious Rune.
Which replays the rune, which then destroys the Dark Heart, which then lets us get our Clobberon. Sure, double did ya.
I like it. All right.
Even something like Dread End isn't an out at this side for Justice's side of the table because they'll turn into 1/1 Dreadlings, and Justice is down to 2 life.
Yep.
And Into the Unknown is certainly not going to do it. It is wonderful and animated, though.
Beautiful looking card. It was an interesting game there.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, and I think that game showed kind of a good reason why like the control decks can often struggle in a more diverse mid-range format. Like this, I think the Sapphire Diamond control deck is definitely one of the best decks in Hex's current constructed format. But I think once we get once Lasgar's Vengeance rotates out here in a bit, the control decks are going to have a lot harder time because they're going to have to answer a wider range of threats.
That game also showed a lot. Zubrin has a lot of respect for the Dreaming Fox deck out of the reserves, it seems like. You know, and those cards really took over. The Chop Knight did a lot of work, and also the Scorn of Oberon was very nice too. So
yeah, and the Scorn was just a 1-for-1 there, right? Like there's times where it can like generate a 2-for-1 and like undo a transmography, but even just as a 1-for-1, it was very potent. We see Zubrin very quickly mulligan a hand that doesn't have a lot of pressure in it, and Justice keep a hand that I love being able to keep. Because ice, baby, they are wonderful. So that ice certainly fate weaved a resource to the top of Justice's deck there.
This is a pretty gross one. So Justice kept the one charter. It was ice, and guess what?
It found
an ice.
Yep.
Ice,
baby.
Yeah.
So I bet that ice is going to get another resource.
You think so?
And if that ice gets another ice, baby, we're going to roll right on off into our first 4 resources.
We're freezing at this point. Yeah.
It's so cold.
So Zubrin has
a 2-charter. Mightsinger come down pretty unlucky. Justice missed the other ice there, but they do have this bounty of the Magus here, which is likely going to help them. Draw into some more resources.
Very good, yeah. Zubrin in desperate need here of some resources.
Third resource here would be ideal for Zubrin's side of the table for sure.
So Zubrin finds the untap wild card, which is very nice here.
It triggers on the Mightsinger, which we missed, so the top card of Zubrin's deck was not a resource here. I'm not going to be too surprised to see this come across. I'm pretty sure Justice wants to cast Bounty this turn. And Zubrin, again, choosing to like pace himself a little bit and respect that the potential of a removal spell. Guidance. Let's talk about how much better this card is than Arcane Focus for a second here. Justice needed a resource, and Guidance goes, I got you.
Gotcha, no big deal.
And Guidance finds an ice. So that's going to lock up the 5th resource here. So we've gone from keeping a 1 resource hand to making our first 5 resource drops with the control deck.
Just beautiful. Just how you draw it up, honestly. So Zubrin is stuck here with a Scorn of Oberon, a pair of Gargulus, an Eternal Seeker, and a Rainier Hierophant.
A third 8 drop added to the hand here. The good news is this Mightsinger is really safe.
That baby is never leaving.
And Justice taking the read here that there's probably something going on the other side of the table. I should not play my Transmography into potential Gargulus here after getting got by it a couple of times here. Silvertalon Adjudicator here, not gaining life, but it is going to draw 2 cards.
Well, yeah.
This is an interesting line on Zubrin's part. We've chose to activate the Gargulith in response to the Silvertalon Adjudicator.
Yeah.
Best response NA from Zubrin. I think we realized we made a little bit of a mishap there. Justice doesn't go ahead and transmograph. I feel like from Justice's side of the table, what is there that could possibly punish me for transmogrifating in response there?
Yeah, I don't know. At one open resource, I don't think there's too many things. Maybe just like just hanging on to it for a while. I don't know. Maybe we're just waiting down the line. I guess the 2/2 isn't really too impressive.
Yep, that's fair.
And you know that they're shard light, so them drawing more troops isn't really a big deal at this point.
Yep, and Zubrin, and this is one of the kind of tough things too, is that you kind of committed to this, I'm going to protect my threat line, and he's been kind of punished for this line by not being able to draw any more resources, so now he's just getting further behind on the board here.
Yeah.
And Justice has the Runebind to protect the Dark Heart here, and we chose to Runebind the Scorn, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's worth noting if Justice chose to Runebind the Dark Heart wouldn't have died. And unfortunately for Zubrin bricks on a resource yet again, so they're not able to recast this and punish and kill the Dark Heart.
Yeah, it's not good. Didn't really work out the way Zubrin intended this game so far. Did take a mulligan, and it was a 2-shorter, but I think it was a pretty reasonable one.
Yeah, I think his hand was a perfectly reasonable keep. He had
Yeah.
some interaction, and we hit the Might Singer was good, but just like not hitting this third resource or this fourth resource until turn 5 or 6 here is just probably going to be a little bit too
Yeah, it
much.
certainly hurts, and Justice has pretty diverse set of tools going on in hand here, so. Alright, with that, Justice sacrifices Dark Heart and Olzan, draws the 7th resource here, which is pretty notable.
Honestly, I'm not even sure you want to generate an Oracle Song at this point.
At this point, it's probably not. I'm going to go ahead and play out a second Dark Heart.
And that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're pretty far off of anything like Eternal Seeker or Chomp Knight coming into play, and this is going to cause Zubrin to sacrifice both of his only 2 permanents in play. We do get a
Jeez,
piece of
Goliath.
Stinky Cheese.
Jeez, Goliath. So Justice here left with 2 resources available here. Pride's Fall, Transmogrifade, a 10 costing Psychic Extension, and a Guidance in hand. Lots going on. Zubrin goes ahead and gets down a Might Singer of Ages. Stuck with a Paragargulus, an Eternal Seeker, a Cheese Goliath, which is pretty expensive currently.
And it's, just a casual 10. What's a 10 drop between friends, really?
Alright.
The opponent's Silver Talon Adjudicator's drawing cards because you're stuck on charge might be one of the worst feelings in the world.
That is certainly a tilt.
You're just like, I'm a mid-range deck, this card is not supposed to draw cards against me.
Come crashing in for 8. Pretty safe here. Silver Talon drawing a pair of cards. A Thunderfield Seer and another Transmogrifade. Alright, let's see where we get here. Zubrin taking it on the chin for coverage here.
Cheaper again. And again, like, there's no... It's not like you're playing on the ladder where, like, you're trying to get the most games in the smallest amount of time. You're waiting for their matches to finish anyways. Your opponent could misclick. They could make a pretty critical mistake. Their house could get hit by a meteorite.
That is
disconnect.
True. Could happen.
Make your opponents actually kill you. There's nothing wrong with that. And we see here Zubrin picking up one of his answers to a Dark Heart of Nulzan. So we're just, one more answer away from maybe clawing our way back in here.
You never know. Alrighty, so... And honestly, this Dark Heart's going to remove the Silver Talon Adjudicator, so Zubrin has a little bit of time here. It's not great. It's basically do or die here in the next couple turns.
Thunderfield Seer popping on out here. Oracle Song. I like the Seer before the Oracle Song. Try and draw into your Prophesize card a little bit. And did we do it again, ladies and gentlemen? We did. That is a Prophesize Bounty of the Magus. Not that we need it in this game, but it feels good to have.
Might as well, Just a wealth of riches. Alright, gonna go ahead and play down a Runeir Hierophant.
Which generates us a Apprentice Earthcaller here. Probably not going to be terribly valorous.
Not the best.
So the Bounty of the Magus could flip that out here, and it draws 2 cards to start.
Yeah,
3 cards? Oh, jeez. Oh, he played a Bounty on turn 3 this game. I forgot it was already escalated.
Hey, look at that one.
The Flickering Goobler here.
This one is actually a flickering blocker, it looks like,
and so,
if it's able to.
Small misstep by Justice here. If Justice would have transmogrifated this during Zubrin's second main phase, he would have caused this to be sacrificed or returned to Zubrin's hand.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good. Alright, we have Into the Unknown here. Just draw another Silver Talon Adjudicator. That's got to feel pretty good. Gonna go ahead and Ascend instead, because you know what? Why not?
Just, if you're a little bit ahead, why don't you just get even more ahead here?
And our Paragon of Thought generated a Lanapause site.
I feel so bad for Justice. You just had to discard a card.
Yeah. It's
just unable to play anything out.
Pretty rough sledding.
Alright, Puck and Balthazar draws a...
Eternal Bastion, nice.
Draws an Eternal Bastion. We have to play a 2-drop and a 3-drop out here.
Alright.
See, Into the Unknown getting played on the Might Singer mostly turns it into a Gargoyle. Okay, sure. We mostly just want to get things off the table from Justice's side, right, so you can start pressuring them adequately. You want to kind of go wide and kill them. The writing's kind of on the wall at this point.
Bluebell Dryad. That one's pretty fun.
You could hope your opponent gets too excited with Bounty of the Magus and accidentally decks themselves, I suppose.
That is true.
We see a Well of Purpose that draws a card that's been prophesized by the Lanapause site come off the top here. Honestly, I'm not even sure you want to play the second Dark Card out. Because it makes you sacrifice 2 of your troops a turn, so you might just want to,
that is true.
move to hand size here and just keep going wide.
I mean, anytime you can move to hand size, just is awesome, right?
It just
like
sends the message, I have all of these cards, but I don't need these ones to win the
these
game.
ones I don't need, yeah. Eternal Bastion going to be the play here for Zubrin. One of our last gasps here, it feels. We have clean Pridefall.
Pridefall is going to spell lethal out for just the side of the table. We have to sacrifice this Duskwing Shepherd to our Darkheart and then crack in for 10 here.
Alrighty.
So again, I feel like those mono wild decks could be well positioned against these control decks, but at the same time, you're not going to be well positioned against much of anything when you miss your 4th-star drop moving in there.
Yeah, it was pretty rough mulligan. So Zubrin had a rough mulligan on 2 shards, and then Justice kept the 1 sharder, which was the ice, and chained ice into ice.
Yep.
Into guidance.
Well, he kept hit the first 5 resources.
Yeah, you
right?
can see.
After keeping the 1 resource.
You can
in.
just see how really good Fate Weave is if you build around it.
Yeah, it's powerful, and the Diamond Sapphire deck will still be good once Thylsgar's Vengeance is gone, just because of how consistent it is, right? Like 8 ice, 8 cantrip is very, very good.
Absolutely.
At any rate, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Stay tuned. We're going to cut to some slides, and we'll be back with round 2 feature match here in just a moment. Thanks for watching, folks.